Welcome back to another episode of Conversations on the Rocks. It's your boy Ice back again.
And your boy Las Vegas.
And we're here with another one. Almost finishing up the first season. I want to shout out to everybody who's been watching, subscribing. And we just keep pushing out this content for everybody. How you feeling, man? How you feeling today?
Oh, man, I'm feeling good, man. This episode 11. As everybody knows, we're going to finish with 12. So be on the lookout for that. But like you said, man, thanks for all the support. The subscribers, I've been noticing they've been going up. Thanks for the comments that people have been leaving. Definitely shout out to all of y'all that's been paying attention, man.
For sure. I'm going to get, with that said, we about to get right into opening shots. Salute. And the first thing we're going to talk about today is, with COVID and everything, the deaths have, I think, been going over 200,000, 230,000 people.
Yeah, it's been going
And they've been talking recently about these vaccines rolling out.
Right.
Starting to roll out a lot of these vaccines from different companies, Pfizer, Moderna. And some people can't wait to take it. Some people are on the fence. What say you? What's your thoughts about that whole?
Man, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence of it too. For one, I don't even have the COVID, so I don't even understand, what the hell the point of that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really trusting it, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've been locked down for so long. Now I understand you got this vaccine, but I also feel like it hasn't been properly tested, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So to just, I guess, release it and just use me as a guinea pig, I'm not with it. So I'm not going.
I mean, they say that it's been tested, and they say the government's gonna, a lot of political officials are gonna get it first, and Obama is gonna get it on live on TV or something like that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people's pushing it, saying that you should trust it and things of that nature. Someone like me, so let's talk flu shots. Like, I haven't got a flu shot since high school. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that's maybe when it was, at that time, mandatory. And I think I probably got the flu maybe once, maybe twice. You know what I mean? I haven't been in high school since 2000. So, yeah. And that's kind of like my thought on vaccines. And it's unfortunately, I understand a lot of our community are just like, our whole thoughts and distrust in the government based on different things we research. Right. The Tuskegee experiment or Tuskegee syphilis experiment. You'll find that there was vaccine that was given out to our community, first come, first serve, and specifically to our community, and a lot of people got syphilis. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, hopefully this vaccine works for the people who do get it, and hopefully they say the numbers go down and we can get back to some bit of normalcy. And hopefully we don't get into a point where they make it a mandatory for people to take it, either to go back to school, work, and all these different things. So.
But I mean, I think that you would have to do that though, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if we want to get back to normal, obviously, as far as like teaching students and all that, I mean, that would just make sense. Again, we don't know what everybody else has been doing behind closed doors and since we've been locked down. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how things go in the months to come. And the next topic we're going to get into in opening shots is your boy Trump. He wants, you saying that he wants to recount of votes, and I guess some people on his side of the party of the fence, they haven't even reached out to congratulate or even said that even to this day, even going into middle of December, hasn't reached out. What's your thoughts on like?
Yeah, with that, Trump, like I said, I was reading up on the story, paid $3 million for Arizona and Wisconsin to be a recount. Now, I believe they did do the recount, or they actually, I don't even think they have started the recount just yet. Okay. I think they're still just telling him because they're going to court because they're putting out the petition and all that other stuff. So now you have to have all the people present for this court. So he's wasting a lot of court time. And where the hell did you get the $3 million from when we got COVID out this motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, now he also wants to recount for Pennsylvania, which I doubt he'll get it. I don't think he'll get the recount because everybody's going to court behind it. I don't think
a lot of these things also that I've been seeing, they either stopped or the judges are just like, this is really baseless. There's nothing to even defend or it's no case.
Right.
So I guess eventually he'll come to the senses, and I guess he'll admit that he isn't the president anymore when he isn't in the White House anymore. I mean, I guess at some time you're going to have to be like,
He being real stubborn. He being an asshole. Because I told you the last meeting he had when he came out and actually talked about the COVID, and then that's when we were saying about now they got the vaccine about to come out and they was going to try it. Everybody wanted to ask him. He had the doctor speak. He spoke about the COVID, and then Trump walks off the stage. Didn't even acknowledge anybody else's question. What about the election? This and that. He never said nothing. Yeah, so that's all right. We're going to move your bitch ass up out of there, bro. We're going to get your ass up out of there.
And speaking of getting in there and out of there of the White House, so you got Joe Biden. He's due to be the next president. He's the president-elect and will be in the White House next. And we just had a news story. We could not talk about this. Man, Joe, he fractured his foot playing with his dog Major, and it's just untimely for I think that man for this to happen to him. One, because I think a lot of people already say he's old, and then two, you haven't even stepped into the White House yet.
So explain again what happened.
I think the story of how he explains it is even worse than just the headline. So I heard him say that he was getting out the shower and his dog said his young pup came up with a toy in his mouth and dropped it right in front of him right when he got out the shower and wanted to play. So he said he reached down, he picked up the toy and threw it, and then as he was down there, he kind of acted like he was going to run after him. As soon as he acted like he was going to run after him, and he's wet and get out of the shower, I guess he didn't put two and two together and shit, and that's how the poor fella fractured his foot.
Oh man!
But my thing is like, did you have drawers on? Like, did you just have a towel on and just get out the shower and was playing with the dog? Like, so when somebody came and helped you, did you like? What's going on? You should have made up some other story than that.
Damn, look at little Joey. It was probably Kamala. God damn, Joe. Get your ass up. Get your stupid ass Major.
Oh man, he could have kept that story to himself.
Oh man, and this is our president, Joe. Playing with the dog, playing hot dog with the dog in the house. What's going on here?
Hot dog with the dog.
And he said Major. Like when you said Major, I know that dog small as shit. Me, look at this nigga big ass name. He bull or some shit. Like, Major, you want to play? No, Major does want to play, Joe. Put your fucking clothes on first, and then go play with the dog, man. God damn.
That's. Yeah, we could not, you know what I mean, end this segment without talking about that. So shout out to Joe. I think he's gonna be in the walking booth.
Oh man, this is not gonna look good at that inauguration. Cause you know Trump gonna say some stupid shit, and that nigga face gonna pop up on the big screen like, yo, stupid ass fella. They gonna fuck Joe shit up. And damn, Colin, just go, man, get your mind back together, man, for real. Get a real dog, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend to run after you and slip and fall. You stupid motherfucker. Come on, man.
And we're gonna get right into our next segment, which is the entertainment update. A lot that's been going on. Salute. So the first thing we're gonna get into is I guess a big fight, right? Recently, everybody was watching or tuned in to see Roy Jones fight Mike Tyson. We actually talked about this a couple episodes ago. I think it ended up being a tie.
A tie, yeah. Came out
but I guess a lot of people were saying Mike Tyson was getting at Roy Jones and he kept clinching. So I think they're trying to set up another, like a rematch, and I mean, salute to them for even, and they probably had the rematch already set up before the first fight, but shout out to them for coming out of retirement. It's wild to see Mike Tyson back in the ring.
Right. Well, my thoughts on it, I didn't get to see the fight. I was out in Pennsylvania, shout out to all y'all, but what I did see was the ending of it. After the fight was done, you know, the commentator came over and wanted to interview both of them. Mike answered his questions and everything like that. He was like, yeah, man, you know, you're a good fighter, woo, this and that, right? Cool, I answered. When they got to Roy Jones' ass, though, right? He said, Roy, how you feel? He said, well, hell, that nigga hit all his ass. God damn. He said, I thought I had a six-pack. Yeah, now I need to go get the whole 12. And then Mike, you know, he like, hey, yeah, but man, he took the hits, like he took it like a champ. He said, yeah, but I said, is this nigga breathing okay? Is he okay? Nigga, the fight is over. Why you still breathing hard with your fat ass?
50 plus.
Oh, man. Like I said before, man, Mike Tyson looked like he just got out the ring yesterday.
Right, he looked
and then Roy Jones looked like, they look like they just stuffed his ass with food, tried to make this nigga fat as fuck. Like, nigga, you gonna need to absorb these motherfuckers. Cause Tyson, did y'all see his workout? We all saw Tyson's workout. That nigga was throwing them jabs like this nigga was 23. And I said, who the fuck wants to go for that? Roy, you wanted to get your whole career destroyed for this? For this? Stop, man. Stop playing with Mike. Mike just doing this because the next fight, he gonna work your ass. He mad he ain't knock your ass out this time.
You don't want to go out like a meme. Like Pacquiao
or like Nate Robinson.
Speaking of me.
That was a good one. You get good at this nigga. Oh, Nate, my man just made a meme right there.
You didn't watch the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones when you did show.
If you didn't see nothing else, you damn sure saw this. This shit is on YouTube, Facebook. Nigga, all you gotta say is Nate Robinson. That shit come right up. Hey, look, man. This was wild to me. Again, because I didn't see the fight. When I automatically heard Nate Robinson, I just knew it was a boxer named Nate Robinson and this white dude, Jake Paul. What I didn't realize is Nate Robinson is a fucking NBA player. Like, I really know this nigga. Nigga, you was just dribbling a couple of years ago. And now you in here swinging for the fences. Okay? And this nigga Jake is like what y'all like to call a troll on Instagram.
YouTuber and shit.
Nigga, a YouTuber. What the fuck?
But he actually, you know what I mean?
He actually had a fight. That nigga was really training for this shit. Nate not so much. Nate looked like he was over there shooting free throws all day. Man, about breaking fouls and all that shit. He looked like he wanted to slam dunk on Jake Paul, man. And that's crazy. But the best part of this fucking fight, even though we are clowning the fuck out of you, Nate, was my nigga Snoop Dogg. God damn if he ain't doing a good job, dog. Shout out to Snoop. If anybody saw this fucking fight, you probably, we know Nate got fucked up. We already know. He got knocked out. But Snoop, he said, oh Lord. That nigga said he getting up. He said he looked like he need to switch his shoes. That nigga Nate Robinson had some motherfucking NBA shoes on and shit. In the boxing ring. In the box, nigga, what are you doing? This is a different sport. And Nate, all I want to know is, what was it like when you went back home to the family and your friends? You know what I'm saying? Because you know, in the black community, you get beat by a white boy, you just a sucker, you a bad.
It was quiet. It was quiet.
Oh, quiet.
Night.
Ice. When that
The wife held him.
oh, I hope that bitch. I hope she held you.
Yeah.
And she should, because she's married to you and she needs to wear this along with you. But this is bad look, Nate. This is bad. Like, could you imagine when Nate came home? Hey, what's up going on with y'all? Hey, man, shut the fuck up. Before I gonna get this nigga Jake to beat your motherfucker.
Take the trash out.
Yeah, you take the trash out. And give me that motherfucking chain, nigga. Don't you walk around here like you somebody.
I'll tell Jake to take the trash out.
And Jake at home with his right feet kicked up.
Yeah.
Hey, nigga, you take the trash
Jake,
out.
he chilling with rappers. I think he was with the baby. He
The
counting
baby,
money, like
4 times. Jake, we see you climbing home. You going hard in. Hey, guess what's so bad about
15
this?
minutes.
Hey, man,
take advantage.
Nate is quiet than a motherfucker. Nate, we're gonna need you to say something,
Ain't
nigga.
nothing you can say. You
And then-
hope this passed by.
Hey, Vander Holyfield said I'll train Nate for another rematch.
Oh,
Hey,
shit.
y'all, come on, man. Y'all bringing out all the old niggas and shit. Y'all bringing out all the old niggas. Nate, you done started something.
Shout out to
man.
Snoop, because he about to start his own boxing league, I believe. So
And he should, and he
shout out
should.
to him and shit.
He was a hell of a cat. So Snoop, nigga, come be on the show, bro. You was funny as fuck. Y'all watched that joint just to hear him on that joint. He got the singing.
He was funny.
It was funny, man.
Get into our next topic. Shout out to MJ. MJ actually donated $2 million from his Last Dance documentary.
Shout out to him.
Proceeds to a couple food banks in the Carolinas as well as back in Chicago. So I just thought that was big, and shout out to him. You know what I mean, helping people eat during these
And the
tough
Last
times.
Dance was a good documentary.
that's
If
really-
you've never checked
that's
that out,
amazing.
go check that out. That's a good documentary.
I think it's kind of classic. That's just
Yeah.
20, 30 years in the making. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Anybody that liked basketball was a fan of the Chicago Bulls to be able to see, I guess, more, because it was more detailed of what we didn't see,
behind
or
the
what
scenes,
the behind the scenes, how Phil really connect, and it really shows why they were really so close. And what I didn't know is, hey Mike, fuck what you talking about, Michael Jordan. You ain't gonna punk me, nigga, okay? Cause that nigga used to tell them niggas, shut the fuck up, y'all gonna.
yeah, man, you want to be great. You want to
Hey, but that's what I'm saying. As them as a team, they realized that and saw the hustle on the ground on him, and that's why he is to this day and will always be to this day one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
Yeah.
He will always come up.
Yeah, shout out to him, and shout out to, you know what I mean, that was big for him to do that. And yeah, for all the kids, because some of y'all might be wearing Jordan and don't even know what it look like.
him. Exactly.
So go check out The Last Dance, and get into our last topic. We're gonna talk about the Verzuz battle. Gucci, Jeezy. I feel like it was it's probably the most impactful to the culture. If you came up, listened to them, and understood the beef, the rivalry that they had, and somebody actually got killed behind that, and for them to get even agreed to be on stage and to perform with one another, and then actually kind of squash their beef in front of everybody,
Right.
especially amongst what's been going on. We talked about King Von getting killed, and you know what I mean, a lot of these rappers. It's showing the youth that you can have conflict resolution. You can have a issue or a discrepancy with somebody, right? But still, like, come to a common bond and resolve it, without having to not be here no more. So.
And not even that. I mean, you're making a good point too. I also understand that. I think that was a good thing. So I really do hope everybody did see that. I know there's a lot of us that sitting at home like, man, I don't know, because I was sitting here myself at the time.
It got a little tense for a second.
Yeah, it got a little tense. It got a little tense. But like you said, with everybody that's died, passing away, that was good for the culture. You know what I'm saying? Because this feud, and what I also wanted to like is a lot of y'all didn't even know they were still beefing. Right. You know what I'm saying? And don't even know the story behind it. And like he said, what they said, 15, 20 years.
Right.
They've been quiet and really kept it out of the limelight. So it was good.
Well, yeah, it was dope, man. It was
that was good.
Great game to hear the music and the energy. I think they kind of broke records as far as viewership.
I think this was the highest one, right?
I think so too. And like even when that tense moment when they had that tense moment and how Jeezy came back and put on
Gucci, you was disrespectful for that one, boy.
Gucci was having the diss tracks on
diss track, yeah.
You know what I mean? But and that was one of my favorites because like I just feel like their music is so impactful and like it resonated with you coming up in high school and you know what I mean. So and it was something different that we never heard. Like what is trap music? You know, nobody heard of trap, knew what that was until talking about bandos and this, that, and the third to them Atlanta boys.
Exactly.
Started talking about.
But I agree with you too, man. Like, oh man, it was great to hear some of that music and Jeezy with the Motivation 101. I'm a big Jeezy fan. I love Gucci also as well. Two artists. And like you said, y'all wouldn't even know about no trap music if it weren't for these boys right here and a few other. But for them two right there, y'all wouldn't even know about
they
that
spawned
shit.
a lot of people from them too. You know
I mean, from the Walker Flock of Flames to the Juice Man to the motherfucking USDA boys and all that. Come on, man. Y'all stop playing. But that was a good battle. I also like the DJs too. I thought the DJs.
Oh yeah, I like how they got into it.
They got into it. They hyped it up, and it was good, man. And look, I'll tell y'all right there. I know everybody was mad from like what 8 to 10 because all the dope boys was inside the house. Nobody got weed pills. No, nothing.
Ain't nobody
Ain't nobody. And
don't hit me.
Don't hit my motherfucking phone. Jeezy and Gucci on, nigga. They about to get the shooting, nigga. And shout out to Rick Ross, because Rick Ross was there, actually. He was there. They was in Magic City, man. And then they came back and did So Icy together at the end. I thought that was classic.
Perform together, man.
That was cool.
They probably never really performed that record together in the
year.
It's still kind of hit.
Yeah. I don't know the song.
Salute both of them, man.
But shout out to y'all for that one.
So, you know, we back at Verzuz, you know what I mean? Who we want to see, you know what I mean? We always have to get back to that barbershop talk.
You know
I heard Juicy J saying that he want to see Pharrell. I'm like,
I don't know about that.
I know because off the cuff you think of Pharrell just got so many. But I mean,
it's not that,
but of course I'm biased.
I think Juicy's too hood for my man.
But he got Grammys. You know
I mean, he do got Grammys. I just think
he got Oscar.
And for real, I don't know.
You talking about top 20 versus 20?
Yeah, I mean, we talking about some top producers that done a lot. For real, shout out to the boy. You know what I'm saying? Neptune's on that 2 Up, 2 Down. For real, that's the whole thing. I don't know. And then, honestly, I got Pharrell smashed with my man Juicy J, and I fuck with Juicy J. I do. Yeah. But like you said, he got so many hits, man. I think he could just do it by beats alone.
Juicy J vert somebody, because a lot of people don't know Juicy J. He be producing a lot of tracks that people don't know. A lot of Meg Thee Stallion. That's how people don't know he been producing, and she got some stuff.
He done some of the Miley Cyrus. You know when they had their little back and forth.
Some stuff.
He got some hits, man. You can't sleep on.
The next Verzuz is gonna be
Ashanti,
Keisha Cole,
and Keisha Cole.
I believe that's this Saturday, so when this comes out, you know, we'll probably be dropping right when this comes out.
Right.
But I
think that's a good match. I think that's a good match.
Like a nostalgic R&B look, like kind of look.
And they both been off the radar for long. I mean, you haven't heard of Ashanti for a while. We haven't heard from Keisha Cole.
Yeah.
And Keisha, just to let you know, I wish you never got rid of your gap. You were so sexy with that.
I didn't know what you was about to say. So she's really closed it up or something?
Yeah, you know, she done closed the gap in the mouth, man. I thought it just brought.
She's still cute.
She is.
Like, they both like.
She is.
You know what I mean?
Keisha Cole, yeah.
Shout out to them queens.
Yeah, but me, as far as the Verzuz battle, I don't know, but another battle that they had said, because T.I. has not been on it yet, they were talking about T.I. and Lil Wayne.
I tell you that I like that one. I like that.
Like it. I like it too.
I think
it's gonna be a lot of hits.
Evenly matched. I think a lot of people probably just gonna go with Lil Wayne just because they know he done had so many. But it's top 20 versus top 20. And not like T.I. is my dude, like it's one of my
Tip one of my
so I'm kind of like biased as well, but of course I came up with Wayne too.
Though, Slim. Wayne.
It's gonna be. I think
like,
that'll break records.
Cause that's gonna break hella records.
Sure.
But we talked about it. I think for real, Wayne can do it all for his mixtapes alone. He bring out the droughts.
Yeah.
That nigga bring out the no ceilings.
Yeah, no
the sorry for the waits. Come on, man, stop playing. Wayne, man, Wayne got no Tip. What? No, Tip got hits, but he don't got them Wayne. Wayne made a rock album, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Yeah, Wayne got a lot of hits. And
I'm saying it could be.
And then think of all the verses. I mean, like just features he's done. I mean, from the Hot Boys. See, Tip didn't come from all a group or nothing like that. He had to do it all on his own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I get that. But Wayne got too many for Tip, man. Wayne got too many. Man, Wayne got, and I fuck with it.
What do y'all see? Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, leave it in the comments. What y'all think? Tip and Wayne, man. I don't know. But I would like to see it. I know it's gonna break records. I know they'll come together, man. It'll be good. And of course, 2 more trap boys in the same building at the same damn time. That'll be a good look, man. So yeah, salute to that. Who you got in the Verzuz battle? Who you want to see?
Who I want to see? Man, that's a great question. Right off the top of my head. I mean, I'm always like, my favorite rapper is Nas, so I like to see a Nas in somebody. But I don't see. I can't see. And I don't see Jay-Z doing it.
Who do you put Nas up with? Who do you put?
They gotta be like a Jay-Z or.
Hey, man. He better bring that ether all day, man. Hey, look, Nas, I fuck with you, big homie. You don't want to withhold, man.
I don't know anybody else up there like with him on it, that stature for real. That would like.
Honestly, you know what? Now I know this is gonna happen.
Be good with Nas.
For now, I would put J. Cole up against Nas.
Nah, she's too young. Like,
no,
two different eras.
But they style, they so they the conscious rappers that you can. Okay, then if you don't put him, shit, put Common next to him. Or Andre 3000.
I mean, I would like.
There you go, Andre 3000. Put Andre 3000. Nas and Andre 3000.
Dudes who we probably will never see. Hopefully,
hopefully
we wrong. Cause I didn't think that I would see Jeezy and Gucci. And that shit happen.
True shit. So hopefully we can see that.
Just put it in the universe.
So y'all leave y'all comments about that. What y'all think about the Tip and Wayne, and what y'all think about Nas and 3 stacks. I can't even say it. 3 stacks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Andre Benjamin. Yeah, what y'all? Yeah, put it down there, man. And then also let us know who y'all want to see in the Verzuz battle. And lastly, before we get out of entertainment update, we're gonna get into. I know I said this was the last segment, man, but this conversation's on the rise. Anything can happen. We're gonna get into this story. It's wild, but you know we always want to put some funny stuff into the mix. Down, I believe it was in Atlanta, Georgia, at a restaurant called Truth Kitchen. It's black owned. The owner came out because I guess some young ladies were twerking on the window, and he kind of had a spaz out moment, like this is not the type of establishment for that. Like, don't come here and do that. You could go somewhere else and twerk and this, that, and the third. And it was a packed restaurant, mostly seemingly black people from what I saw.
Right.
And I just thought, I think the reason why it was shared so much was I think some people feel on both sides. They agree with what he's saying, but there's probably some people who are like, huh, who is this dude? You know what I mean?
Right. No, honestly, this is a good story if you've ever watched the video or anything, you know, or whatever like that. So like the man said, he was very upset that they were twerking in his restaurant. Okay, very understandable. My thing with him, and the only thing I would tell him, for one, don't play twerking music in your fucking shop. Like, dog, you know black people. What the fuck you mean? Like, there's a bunch of black, beautiful, healthy women down there in Atlanta. They don't want to do nothing else but shake that ass, nigga. And they hear that shit, hell yeah. They go up to a restaurant having a good time. Don't do that. Now, the other thing I didn't like, I understood exactly where he was coming from. I thought he did make some very good, valid points. Yeah. The only thing that I didn't like is how he handled it.
Right.
Oh, y'all can get the fuck out of this and that. Because, first you were already getting on black people because they weren't acting accordingly as black people, but then you responded back to them as the same way as they perceive to be in front of your eyes. You don't tell nobody get the fuck out of your shop and this and that and all that stuff like that. You handle yourself accordingly.
Right.
Which means you should have kept on and said, this is what you own. This is how you wanted to do this for black people and show them this and that and want a classy restaurant. And I get it. They shouldn't have been twerking in your fucking restaurant. I get that. I get that. If you want a classy establishment like that, why not? White people got it all the time. You don't never see white people do stupid shit like that, but they don't play twerking music in their fucking shop neither.
Correct.
It's more jazz or something mellow, or play, you know, at least some 80s music, something that just make one at least dance.
Right.
Don't have to be twerking, but you're playing hip hop and all that.
Yeah.
Nigga, what you think's gonna happen?
Exactly. That's a good point on both sides. The music, but also to what you said, right? Like your approach. You didn't have to. You could. It could have been the teaching moment with them young ladies, whoever was twerking, and like even like you could have pulled somebody to the side. You saw them. You didn't even have to yell at everybody like that. Abrasive approach. Like sometimes the people you just they just don't hear it. You know what I mean? They just shut you out. So I feel like it could have been a better teaching moment. And to your point, like this is, if you're a professional, you're a businessman, right? You want to have a business and run your business this way, then act in that way when you respond and have a conversation to somebody. So,
yeah, I mean that's all. You know, I mean, I deal with them on my daily basis. You know what I'm saying? My daily life and all that stuff like that. Like even my own boss. Like I'm not for the disrespect. There's ways of talking to me. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I proceed to give you lip, then I can understand it. But nobody said anything while he was talking, and I just felt like like I said, I felt like his approach was really too strong, and it didn't make sense because you really just looked as just as ignorant as these motherfuckers that was just twerking in your shop. In my eyes, you know what I'm saying? Like you really just brought the hood back out, and everything you was trying to get away from, you went right back to, and somebody got underneath your skin. So be professional and handle it in a professional manner.
Yeah, so shout out to the owner of True Kitchen down there in that restaurant.
Maybe we have you on the show.
Get your side of the story. And now we in last call, and as you can see, we have a guest with us. I want to thank Tati. She is a high school senior here in Northern Virginia, and she wanted to come on the show with us to talk about mental health. So we're going to get right into it. So.
Boy, your little she got you.
Salud. We're gonna get right into our first topic in talking about mental health. So.
Okay, so I guess my first question for y'all would be, you know, there's been a lot of stuff in quarantine that's been going on, and just you as your labels in society, as a man, as a black man, you know, like how do you respond and feel about quarantine and everything that's been going on and all the riots that correlated with going on?
Great question. For me in quarantine and the riots, it's like multiple emotions and feelings and thoughts that I had to think about from not only myself but about family. Just starting with quarantine, when this thing happened, when we started back in mid March, now almost 9 months ago. It was a change because we all, like humans, we're used to routine. We're used to certain things happening every day. You wake up, you do some of the same stuff. And then to not go into the office anymore and to have these Zoom calls or whatever, and having your child like doing virtual learning and stuff, it's an adjustment, right? Because you have to not only put on your work hat, but you got to put on the teacher hat. You got to put on the IT hat when shit fucking is messing up and you can't get on the call and all this. So it's a lot for parents, and I think I was saying this the other day. I feel like now is a time where we now really value teachers and probably we want to pay them more now because we're having to be a teacher. We're like, damn, it's a lot of work. You know what I mean? So salute to the teachers. As far as like the rights and everything, and the since George Floyd, rest in peace. I love that as a human, as a black man. I love these protests because they bring change. You know what I mean? I think people are listening. People protesting across the world, not just in the states, the United States of America, right? But I love to see it, and I just wanted more of it to happen because it's needed. Not only here, just across the world, and people just need to know that we have the power. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I mean it's been a lot to deal with. It's probably a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry of like what's tomorrow, what's gonna happen. Will I have a job? How long will that last? Like how long will we locking back down again? In a sense, a bit. Like, what does that look like? And these vaccines, as we said earlier, is about to start rolling out. How will this flu and COVID winter, season go? So it's a lot of worries, a lot of doubt, and I know a lot of people are probably going through it. Especially, you may be unemployed and not have a job because your industry or your company shut down and you're not opening. So.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Honestly, me personally, the effects to me. I like to be outside, so just being locked in and all that stuff like that is killing me. But a little bit more of what Ice was saying. I guess this whole virtual reality stuff. I mean, personally, I don't got my kids with me. They with their mama driving them crazy. Thank you, appreciate it. Anyway, but that being said, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really feel bad for my kids' generation. That's what I mostly think about a lot. As far as like what's going on, because they're so secluded from everything now. You have to be, you know what I'm saying? So not to be able to be, I guess, normal. You know what I'm saying? Like from going outside to like, I mean, damn, like your childhood has been really shut down, and now it's based off of, I guess, what, a computer or and then just the families. Like, hey, I'm a parent, so I can imagine trying to be with your child 24 hours. But on top of that, for like people like Ice and you know what I'm saying, my best friend, you know what I'm saying, single parents that have to also go to work and maintain this and that, and then shit. We just talked about it, like, when's the last time you been to school? Like, come on, man. Like, the learning is changing, so that's an adjustment too. And then, like you said, to value, we really probably value these teachers. And look, y'all parents will probably never call your teacher and cuss them out about your child ever again after this shit. They like, Tommy was acting up. Back in the day, your mom be like, bitch, no, he didn't do that shit. Bitch, your motherfucking name. Now, you might be like, girl, I'm going to beat his ass when he get here. Just call me any fucking time. Anytime. You know I love you. You know what I'm saying? You know I love you, girl. We in there. You know what I'm saying? But I just think, I think it is a strain. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're really wasn't a homebody or anything like that, like, this is a major part of your life, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of stuff has really changed, and to walk around with masks, that's another thing that bothers me too. I feel like I always say that because we look like fucking aliens. Every time you see somebody, he got a fucking mask. Bitch, I don't even know what you look like underneath that jump. You know what I'm saying? I had a girl tell her holler at me the other day with a mask on. I said, I don't know what you look like. And I didn't want to put a mask down because I didn't want to get the COVID. So
where are we going with that?
Well, she wanted to talk to me. I mean, they say it's airborne. Don't breathe, cough, all that. Keep all that in your mask. And I didn't want to bring the mask down, and I love y'all. I didn't want to do that shit. I ain't gonna be that guy.
Oh my.
Well, how has COVID and how has quarantine and everything affected you? And can you speak from the standpoint of your generation, what you've seen, how has it affected them?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that during quarantine, it made me as a person grow a lot. Like, you have no choice when you're in the house, you're seeing the same four walls, like, every single day. And it's just kind of like, I've always been an introvert. Like, I like to stay to myself.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
so it's definitely different for other people. Like,
Yeah.
in my
I can relate,
household,
yeah.
especially.
Okay.
Like, they're, like, they don't want to be in the
Nigga,
house.
I ain't wanna
you
fuck
know?
with you anyway.
That's a good point, though.
Yeah, that is.
No, I'm definitely an introvert. But I realized during quarantine that I'm an introvert, but I like to be extroverted sometimes.
Right.
So
You got the yin and the yang.
Yeah, right.
So to feel like I have to stay in the house
Right,
make me
right.
want to leave the house. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So it's definitely that, but it did make me grow as a person and definitely thinking more into me becoming a woman.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And just dealing with different things emotionally and
Mhm.
mentally, and especially with school and everything.
Mhm.
But when quarantine first started, I think that that's when I went through the most personal growth because everything was shut down.
Mhm.
Our grade, I was a junior at that point,
Yeah.
and they just closed school down. We didn't have no computers, no laptops, no
Right.
Zoom. It's not like our senior year
Yeah,
right now.
Right.
Like, it was more of
That's a good point.
That is.
just fun. Like, everybody's like, all
So
right,
you was
well,
adjusting to it.
school's
We didn't
out.
know how to adjust to it. Now,
Right.
this year, they had a whole summer to think about how.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Well, now let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Because you are a senior this year, are you mad that you're gonna miss out on all of this senior stuff that goes along with it? The prom, the walking across the stage. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, you gotta at some point be like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Because you can't stay too upset about something for too
Right.
long.
Yeah.
But I definitely was upset about homecoming, football games,
Right,
basketball games. Like, this is my senior year. Like,
Yeah,
it's time to, I was,
That's
and
what
you
you've
know,
been waiting for.
yeah,
Right.
and it's
And you
just
see,
crazy.
that's what I was trying to say earlier because I do feel that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, all of
Yeah, I
you
feel
know
for the
that-
kids.
and I feel
The
really
kids
for that
are-
generation because they're not gonna get a chance to experience that.
Some things, yeah.
But to build on that though too is like, it's crazy the way that the world works out. Because for freshman, sophomore, and junior year, I didn't really go out like that because I am an introvert. Look, man, I got all senior year.
Yeah.
I'm going out. We having fun. It's whatever. I'm not even gonna be tripping about it, you know. Because I was like, for my senior year, I ain't gonna be worried about nobody else.
Right.
I'm just going to have fun.
Okay.
And now I'm in my senior year, and there's none of it. There's none of it. So it was just like, it's
like
crazy.
senior trips.
Oh,
You
no,
know what
no,
I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
And then-
just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What I also think about is like, so what is y'all high school reunion gonna be like with y'all being quarantined? Like 20 years from now, what is y'all really gonna look like at a high school reunion?
They gonna celebrate like nobody else.
Yeah, like I mean, are y'all gonna be on computers the whole time, and you just got your old ass principal walking around?
You gotta be in person. You gotta be in person.
No, but I think that definitely a lot of just what I was going through, but plus what other people have been going through, it all correlates to being at home. Like that mentality of having to be home. I think a lot of my generation realize they don't like their family. Like,
Wow.
and that's just facts. Like, I've watched people like all over social media, even to get into like the rioting and everything.
Right.
There was people that I knew because over the summer during the quarantine, I ended up going to Pennsylvania to go hang out with my cousins and whatever. And just being up there with her people and making friends and stuff, it was crazy because it's predominantly white in the place in Pennsylvania where my cousin lives.
Yeah.
So it was different being around different groups of people and hearing their perspectives on Black people and on everything just in general. Like, some of them were leaving their houses, and you know, like, some of the people that I was meeting up there, they were talking about how they were getting kicked out. They were leaving their families because these are people that you live with and you grow up with, and they teach you morals. They teach you who to be and how to be. You know, because as parents, you're supposed to mold your child. But some of them, like, after you get to a certain point, especially in our generation, we're a lot of saying this is right and this is wrong. and
Right.
that's just that.
All right.
Or a
yeah,
lot of just
Black and
calling.
white,
exactly,
no
Yeah, like there.
Right.
I mean, even if there is a gray area, we're looking at it from the past and
Mhm.
trying to make a better future. Because if we keep doing the same stuff our parents did and our parents' parents did,
Right.
nothing's ever gonna
That's right.
get better.
Yeah,
Because
that's
when you
right.
think of racism in our country and how long it's been going, it's really just evolutionary. Like it just keeps passing down.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's why
history repeats
everything.
itself.
Right, but there's a difference though, right? Because I wasn't with the rioting at first either. I didn't like the protests and the rioting. I was like, we're in a new time. You can't use the same old tactics to fix new problems
that is
because
true.
there was systematic racism with the segregation and all that going on, protesting, going out there, everybody, but that was when our rights were completely restricted as humans. Like we were not people today,
Right.
So it was like at the end of the day, now that we do have rights, there's people who don't even know what to do with them.
Right.
For first, and then second of all, we're looking at it from we're out here rioting and we're getting more people killed.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the rioting for? Because you're getting attention, but isn't in the way that you want it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it's not going over well. It's just coming up with that same stereotypical aspect of life. Because one thing that I advocate for too is I can call it. Like if it's in our race, for example, a lot of them up there, they made some great points, but they were scared to talk about it because we make them feel scared.
Right.
And I can play devil's advocate with it because at the end of the day, if I was a white person and I was born into a world that already felt that I was an oppressor, a racist, a slave owner, like all of these different titles and names that society presses onto you, I think that a lot of our generation is so like dashed on, but in a lot of ways we're coming up from a lot of different systematic and old mindsets, and we're coming out of that because we're not worried about what nobody else says. Now, may a lot of us have our flaws? Completely, yes, but everybody does.
100%.
And I feel like with everything, with the quarantine and stuff like that, it's an issue for some, but it's not an issue for most either because the club's still open in Atlanta. They still out there popping, having fun, popping
a restaurant out there right there.
It depends on who your elected official is, who you support, and who's in your jurisdiction.
Just go back to the whole voting shit that you told me about.
See, some places you go when open stuff. Sometimes some places people is closing stuff.
So with all that being said, because you are the younger generation and everything like that, as far as like, so what would you do to change or to help out with the mental health crisis? What would you do?
Honestly, I would look to, well, first of all, when I talk to anybody about how they're feeling mentally, how they are, first I ask them, what have you been through? Like, I feel like as a person, you have to understand somebody's background to give somebody advice about something.
I definitely agree with that.
I can't just give you advice because you could have heard that 1,000 times before.
Right.
So I have to know what you've been through so I could give you the right advice to go forward.
So you can tailor the advice for the person.
Right.
Okay.
Because you can't give the same advice to everybody.
Right.
And
that's real. That is
a
real.
lot of people are shutting down right now. Like, especially in my generation. Like, the suicide rates, through the roof. People are killing themselves.
Why do you think they shutting down? Because they don't have that connection, or because they something you said earlier where they don't like their family? Or
see, that's what I'm thinking it is.
What do you think?
That's what I think it is.
They don't like
what is it though?
Themselves?
Okay.
So what is it?
So I definitely know from experience and have seen that it's a lot of, like y'all say, a lot of the time we see on social media parents talking about their kids always need validation. And it's passing on to the older generations that are getting on social media don't want to post stuff because you're not going to get enough likes. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that.
Right.
And it's just like the validation that comes with life and in society. A lot of people are craving that.
Yeah.
That's why they go on the media and you see all these trolls underneath in the comments.
Right.
But those are the most people that hate themselves.
Right.
So it's just like
misery loves
exactly.
company.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And some of us got too much company.
Right.
For real. That's real talk. But that's real. Some of us got too much company.
Or too much misery. But yeah.
But it's
Either way.
it's that contrast between the two, right? And it's also definitely family is a factor.
Yeah.
And I've been realizing the more that I socialize with different people and just talk to them about things that nobody else is willing to open up that box.
Right.
Because a lot of people, you sit down, you have a conversation nowadays. It's
Yeah,
just like
pretty much.
it's surface level, right?
Yeah.
You tell them how you feel about something, they be like, "Oh yeah, that is crazy."
Right. Well,
like
you don't get too deep with it.
You don't get too deep. Now, with that being said, because you just brought up another question. So, I mean, you are the younger generation right now. So, based off of what you just got done saying, how's it been for you, and how have you been able to, I guess, stay sane, not go crazy, from being around your mom and dad all day, your brother, the virtual reality, and then the fact that like you really don't get too much time to yourself unless you go to work, but then you can't have but so much time left because you're working. So where do you get the time to get yourself together and not go crazy?
Great question.
Okay, so to answer that, I want to start off by saying that to be sane, you have to give yourself peace. So it's not about what the problems is or what you have to do or any of that. It's about those moments of peace, those moments of happiness, relaxation that you give yourself throughout that time period.
Self-care.
So definitely, most definitely, and that goes all towards mental health. So definitely,
100%.
I've had my moments where it was pretty dark a little bit because I have a lot going on. Like I work 2 jobs now, and I'm
okay. Talk about it.
Somebody getting money around this motherfucker.
Right, definitely. Like, but it's also about, because I'm working 2 jobs and I'm doing school and I'm doing all of these things, I still give myself time. Like, I still put time for my family.
That's a gem right there.
Yeah, she's somebody dropping.
That's a gem. Say that again for the people in the back. Say that now.
Yeah, say that again.
For the people
you make time for your motherfucking self.
Yes, I do, and I have to.
And what does that in the detail with that? Like, what do you do?
So, for example, when I wake up in the morning, I have to wake up super early, get on the Zoom call. I have to do what I need to do, listen to the teachers, whatever, do my work.
Yeah.
In certain days, because I'm a senior now, we don't have to have things completed exactly right on time.
Okay.
So after school, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, I'll just relax for the day. Unless I have to go to work, I just relax. I watch some TV.
Right.
I chill. I might scroll on social media.
Yeah.
I might do my makeup, do my hair, do something that makes me
time.
happy.
Yeah, you time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's definitely something that I have to do for myself. Like, I have to. Or it's constant stress. But after that, it's those times that I give to myself that motivates me when I know I need to get something done.
Okay.
So let's say that for one day I didn't do my work on the right exact time or however I was supposed to do it. The next day after that, for the rest of the day, I'm doing work. I'm finishing everything in one day. And I'm not.
You making up for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you gave yourself time and you balanced it.
Right. Because it's not always about getting constantly in that negative headspace, because you can lose yourself in it. And that's something that you have to pull yourself out of. And that's what I've been learning, is that every time that I have a negative thought, I tell myself a positive one to replace it. Because I'll say, okay, so let's say...
That's another gem. Goddamn, okay.
She's doing it,
So let's say I have to go to work today. I'm tired. I don't want to get up. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to work 6 hours. I don't want to be on my feet all day. But I have to because it's work. It's a priority. It's what I need to do. So therefore, I'm putting that first.
Yeah.
Because certain times you're going to have to put things that you don't want to do first. And that's just about growing up, being an adult, being a human being, having responsibilities and priorities. And you can't just lose yourself in the day-to-day life. So definitely one thing that I tell people all the time is that you can only be as mad as you let yourself be. And you can only be as sad as you let yourself be. Any emotion that you have is based around what you let yourself do. Overthinking is a concept that people use a lot to fray away from dealing with their emotions about something, or from dealing with the fact that it really is what it is. Sometimes it is what it is, and that's that. Period. There's nothing else that needs to be said about it. Because the more that you prey on that thing that you don't want to do, or something that you've been putting off for so long that you haven't done yet, and all these different little things, they're like little termites biting, just biting the goodness that could potentially, because people break down, you know, and that's what I see a lot in people, is that they go through so much on a day-to-day basis, and they put on a happy face, or they put on an okay face, or they put on an angry at the world face. But it's just because they're dealing with other things, and they're just trying to put it away because they're not trying to put it onto you. Or sometimes they are trying to put it on you so they can pray away from what they're really feeling.
Now that is real.
And the way that I look at it is that one way or another, you have to feel what you're feeling. And that's what I do. I have to feel what I'm feeling so I can be okay. Because it doesn't matter. I'm a really sensitive person. And I'm sensitive to everything. It doesn't have to happen to me for me to be sensitive about it. But that's just my humanity peeking through. I'm not completely insensitive on purpose. I don't do things to deliberately hurt anyone. You know? But it's the same token that sometimes we can unconsciously do it. And we can be the demon that we talk about other people having. And I really am starting to get into more of like a spirituality kind of mindset of protecting my spirit, protecting my peace, my mind, everything. Because I really do feel as if somebody that you're around can rub that energy off on you.
So speaking of that, like you say that you very sensitive to other people, and other people can rub off on you. Do you feel like mental health, somebody had a mental health issues or things that they don't want to admit that they have or don't want to deal with, do you feel like it could negatively impact you? Either if it's like can parents be bad? That's almost your parents. Shout out to your parents. But can parents, you talked about other kids and them not liking their family, can parents, maybe their mental health, have a negative impact on you, or just peers, friends, and family?
Okay, well, to definitely get into that, because that is like the meat and the potatoes of...
Okay. I like meat and potatoes.
Sure do. Sure do.
That is definitely like, per se, like an analogy, like the entree of what really affects people mentally. Is the people that we're around on a daily. The people that mean more to us than anybody else, because it's the people that are outside of your family that you can learn to not care about their opinions. But it's the people within your circle that you want to confine in, that you have expectations for, that you have this moralistic approach towards. One thing that I want to say that was great, shout out to Oprah. But
shout out to Oprah.
We did.
Hey, Oprah. Love you. Hey.
See you soon.
We got juice.
Yes, but Oprah, she said this amazing thing. Well, she was with somebody who said it. I don't remember his name, but he was a great pastor. And though I'm not religious, the things that he talks about are completely like amazing mental health wise. And basically what they were talking about is Oprah's relationship with her mother. And it was always bad because she dealt with issues from her feeling like her mom abandoned her, feeling like her mom treated her like she wasn't worth something, which correlated into her adult life and made her go harder. But it took her a minute to get
to that point, right?
Yeah, but it was more to get through that hatred, because I really feel as if parents a lot of time they can push their emotions about you onto you, and that can become you if you let it. So one of the things that they said,
that was heavy because
Mom, Dad, y'all hear this shit right here? Did y'all hear
what y'all pushed on us?
No bullshit.
Nah, but I feel like in our community especially, but yeah, I didn't want to interject. I feel that I just had to church. You know?
Real for real. I didn't want to say too much either,
but like you guys are saying, you guys can feel that.
Yeah.
But though you don't talk about it as much because you're grown men, you're adults. And I feel like that is so important. That is so important. You are grown, but that does not mean that the things that you have been through do not correlate into the person that you
100%.
are now.
100%.
Because
they correlate, spell it.
don't do me.
Get him.
CORRELATE.
There you go. Put it together.
Put it in the sentence.
We just put it in the sentence. Oh yeah.
But yes, and those
they
are
tie
things.
hand in hand.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
And I'm saying this because there's people right now that I'm trying to encourage to deal with it now.
Okay.
Deal with it now. Because when you're an adult, it's taught. It's subconsciously taught to push that away. But because if you don't deal with it, then it's gonna still manifest in you without you even knowing it. Because what I tell people is your experiences in life is what teaches you to make the decisions that you make in the future. And what you've been through, you can either take the A or the B response that I always talk about. Right? The A is dealing with it negatively, almost. Like just really not knowing how to go about it and then figuring it out. Like that's like the main basis of it, how it starts, is not knowing how to deal with it. Which a lot of people get stuck in. Not knowing how to deal with something, so they just push it off. But the next step to the part A is learning how to cope with it. Which means coping is talking. Coping is therapy. Coping is learning how to still be the person that you want to be. Without it having to do with what you've been through. Because what you've been through can make you into a better person, or you could take the B response and it can make you into a worse person. And the B response can go either way too. Like I said with life, everything comes with the yin and the yang, a good and a bad. It's about the balance of the universe.
100%.
And no matter how much we try to do our best to make it perfect or to make it almost acceptable enough to just be like, okay, we have common human decency. That is what goes with the B response too, is that some people do the complete opposite of what they experience, which is basically like moving away from it and being
never touch it, never do it.
Yeah, never do it, never be a part of it, and that goes with decisions. Because taking that A or that B response is what's gonna mess you up. Because it's either gonna make you better, like I was saying, but it's gonna mess up other things for you along the way. If you don't know how to train your mind which is what I really wanted to get into.
Okay.
Training your mind starts with you saying, okay, so I've been through this, I've been through that. First thing I'm not going to do is play victim.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that a lot of people do. They play victim and they get stuck in it. And because you get so stuck in that victim mentality, you can't get out. It's hard to dig yourself out of a victim mentality without becoming in some way or form narcissistic. Because now every time that you're talking, we're having a regular conversation at like this, and let's say that you've been through something along the lines of what I'm saying, and it triggers you.
Right.
Because you don't want to come to the realization that you're not dealing with something.
Right.
So you start immediately playing defensive. Immediately going straight to, well, this is my life, and da-da-da, and this happened, blah, blah, blah. Or you do it in a general sense, but you're still incorporating I in it. No feelings that you're talking about should incorporate an I in it. Because it's just only about the emotions.
Right.
It's only about the behaviors that you've done that were associated with the emotions.
Right.
And essentially, you have to learn to look at yourself and say that no matter what, the person that you want to become is worth it. The mindset that you want to have is worth it. Like all of these things are coming together, and it has to do with, especially my generation right now, going back to like the suicide rates, people in depression and deep depression. It has to do a lot with the victim mentality too. It's because a lot of times, especially at our age group right now, it's a lot of, what do you mean you're going through something? Like, do you pay bills? Do you have to do this? Do you have to do that? Do you have kids?
Yeah.
And it's still about, that's a belittling. That's what we call a belittling in our generation. That's what we call it.
That is a good point.
And what I'm saying that to is because everybody goes through things, and you have no idea how that manifests in somebody until they become an adult, and then you see it.
I'm not gonna say that. I feel like you did make a good point. I also feel like, I mean, because we all been through that and done that. I guess it also depends on where you're at in life. Because somebody's not going to understand it if they're not going through it. Like, we already know that point of view right there. I can't understand how you're going, being as a young woman and this and that and all that, because I'm not going through it. I've never been through that. So, you know, everybody is like an asshole. Everybody's got an opinion. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got an opinion, so which means we all got one. And everything like that, but you can't really understand it until you go through it. And I think we shouldn't be so. I get what you're saying, because I shouldn't be judgmental towards you because I'm not going through what you're going through. Whether you're young, old, woman, man, I get that. We've all been through that. But at that same point in time, like I said, even for yourself, people like me and him, like, we've been through that. So when we do say that type of suggestion or whatever and give that type of insight on it, it's also up to you being younger, even with your bright ass mind and shit, like, you can change that by listening to us, and you're gonna make it better, basically, because you know what I'm saying, you're the younger generation and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're kind of teaching us, but you're still learning from us. And you have to take that and then, like you said, break that cycle of everything keep going in a circle and all that stuff like that. That's how you do it. So you also have to listen to the older generation. And we also have to listen to you too at the same time.
I think what is missing or even just because maybe this party didn't go through what this party went through, doesn't mean they can't connect, doesn't mean that they can't like be empathetic and understand and listen to whatever, you know what I mean, the ins and outs or whatever that person went through. I think we miss a lot of that, being empathetic and just listening and understanding, because one thing that I know, I'm actually on a couple of D&I task force at work, but being on them, I learned that, and I kind of knew this before, but it's kind of even emphasized even more that as much as we try to separate ourselves, whether it's light skin, dark skin, whether it's black, white, whether it's poor, rich, whether it's iPhone, Android, we're more alike than we really know, and then we really, I think, sometimes want to admit. Then we are different. You know what I mean? And so sometimes just being empathetic, listening to a story, listening to somebody, like you said, what they've gone through, asking them, like when you said earlier, when you try to listen and understand a person, ask them what they've gone through. Like that, I thought that resonated with me, because you know what a lot about a person by what they've gone through. You know what I mean? So.
And as both of you are saying, as a great point, is I definitely understand both sides and I definitely agree with it, but I definitely want to take it in a route of looking at it from, there should be no opinions in someone else's life. And that's one thing that I feel as a society that we don't succumb to, because we have to learn that sometimes nobody needs your opinion. Sometimes somebody just needs you to listen. Sometimes people just need you to say little things that'll make them think, so they can figure it out for themselves.
You absolutely
you can't force something from your life onto somebody else, because as I was talking about it earlier, that's about mental health. Knowing how something is going to manifest in somebody else by the words that you're speaking to them. You have to be very, like, for example, a lot of people, they say toddlers, they soak up everything, right? I don't believe that. I believe everybody soaks up everything. I believe no matter how old you are, you're still soaking. You're still soaking different information. You're still learning. You're still growing. So there is no, it might be at a higher rate as a younger person. But at the same time, especially for me right now too, I'm watching the people around me and I'm growing too. So I'm watching what you're doing and I'm taking what I want and what I don't want.
As you should.
I'm learning
Mastermind.
from and that's how you do it. But there's the thing,
not what to do and what to do.
And that is childhoods in most cases. It's saying I'm either gonna be an exact match of my parent, and I'm gonna take everything that they gave me. I'm gonna listen to everything because I respect them above all. But there's a glitch with that. Is that if you're taking everything from your parent, you're seeing nothing from a colorful point of view. You're seeing everything from a black and white point of view, of only from what your parents are. So let's say that something that your parents did were wrong, that now they think they're wrong. You don't think it's wrong because you're an exact imitation of them now. But then you have the people who give and take what they want, right? Let's say you don't give and take the right things. So then you're taking the things that you like, but you're not taking some of the key moral compass factors that you need to make decisions in the future. Like my best friend always tells me, he says, we're definitely always importing and exporting like different things. Like we're giving information to people and we're getting some in return. Like whether it's directly or indirectly. And it's all about the way that we're talking to people, the way that we're treating people. You know? And those are all really good things that need to be implemented into, especially households. To fade into the next topic is talking about relationships with parents and children. Because at the end of the day, most parents have good intentions behind the things that they say, which is valid. But it's at the same point that there is a lot of parents that don't understand, or sometimes don't really all the way care because they're too caught up in their own lives, in their own day-to-days, in their own financial stability for their family, that they cannot emotionally be there or mentally be there. Because it's about coming to terms with the fact that, just like we were talking about earlier, we're all human beings. And it takes a minute for, as kids, especially with everything out here on social media of what things are supposed to be. And these ideas of the perfect households and ideas of the perfect relationships, and then not seeing it. That is a mental impact in itself.
Yeah.
Because that's comparing. And a lot of people do that, which can worsen their mental health also. And to that point, what I'm saying is that relationships with parents are essential, because, like we were talking about earlier, relationships with their parents are the foundation. When you have a daughter, the father is supposed to be their first love.
Right.
When you have a son, the mom is supposed to be the nurturer, the lover, the one that teaches him women how to be soft and still have that side of them that can relate and be empathetic. But when you have a daughter, as a father, you're supposed to show them, what a man is supposed to treat you like. So what is it when a parent cannot do that for their child? And especially when you're having these idealistic thoughts of what you want them to be, and them not matching that expectation. That is a pull and a strain on the relationship in itself, because you're both going to feel differently about it. The parent may feel like, I feel like I'm doing all that I can do. Even if I did mess up, I don't know how to fix it if you won't let me. But then on the child's point of view, it's more of, you already messed up, so what do I do now? How do I forgive you when I'm still going through the things that I'm going through because I felt like you weren't there in this and that situation? So because there's the contrast between those two things is why there's so much tension in a lot of households. Because your children have unresolved resentment towards you. And the parents don't know how to come about it and talk to them, because a lot of people, especially children, who don't know how to communicate, because sometimes parents don't know how to communicate. And we learn communication through our parents. But the thing is that's different now, which going towards our generation is that we're coming out of a segregation mindset. We're coming out of a mindset where everything was black and white. There was no color. There was, as you guys talk about, you do what I say, and that's it. You have and that is what I like to call a slave mentality. Your children are not your slaves.
Don't take that, because it's a lot. I do hear what you're saying. How do you speak to the females that are tomboys though? You know what I'm saying? Cause I have a niece, I love her dearly. She's very a tomboy. So because you just separated, don't get me wrong, I can speak for myself. I probably was a mama's boy at one point. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't say shit about my mom. I beat your ass, all that shit like that. But now, like you said, with your generation, and you have talked about this on the episode, the roles is reversed nowadays. I got a niece right now, probably beat your motherfucking ass right now. I got a niece that'll beat your ass right now. But then, my guy nephew, that might just go the other way. You know what I'm saying?
But that's
you know what I'm saying?
Response.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So now it's different, because when me and Ice was coming up, it was one-sided. Either you was straight or you was gay. Now we can get into that, and I hope everybody gets to that point to I don't want my sons to be gay, I don't want my daughter to be gay, nothing like that. But do I disown my peoples because they chose their own little path?
Okay.
So it sounds like you're trying to tie in how we kind of may have been raised, or it was socialized.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Because it was so black and white, just like what she said. It was black and white.
Right.
That's all I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Because I might not said it the right way.
Yeah.
But it was just black and white. Either you were straight or you was gay. But at the same time, like you said, with y'all generation and what's going on, do I disown my own because I'm so stuck in my ways, which you're trying to prove?
Well, no,
right
no,
now?
that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm
just what I was gonna say was like, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, we're so stuck in our ways, but like in our ways, like Tati, you wouldn't do none of this and this and that. You know what I'm saying? But if we be open and really pay attention to our kids and all that other stuff like that, you have to be open-minded about it. Because like I love my sons, and me personally, I don't want them to be gay. I don't. But if they happen to do that,
right?
In our old days, we would have disowned your little motherfucker.
Right, but if they happen to do that, then what?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Well, how would you act?
Exactly. Cause like in my mind, honestly, in my first mind, yes. Honestly, because I was
would you accept it, or like what would you?
I don't want to accept it. Right. I don't.
Right.
But now that I know a little bit more about it, and because they are my kids,
right.
Now, what you were saying, now I have to accept and be open-minded about what the fuck they was. Yeah, now I have to change my thinking.
And I think that's another topic we can get into.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, but it's great to jump into that. But getting back to,
it might have not been what you were saying.
No, that's perfect. Because I'm about to touch on that. Because he made a good point. But I only said a slave treating your children like a slave. You may not look at it like that, right? Because everybody's parents are different.
Right.
But I do know a lot of people who still have the same mindset, which shows
that's all I was trying to get to.
The same kind of segregation and slave mentality, because you have to look at this was their environment. There's three things that completely can shift your moral compass.
Right.
Your
and look,
environment.
Not to really cut you off, when I say that was my point. Because like we was grown into that.
Right, yeah, and that's what I was saying, because I already said all that. But I'm saying that your environment, your peers, and your parents are the biggest influences on who you'll become. You can either be the opposite of it, or you can go along that path. And it's about what he was saying too, what Uncle Lewis was saying, when he was talking about how you grow up in that. And the comparison between your niece and your nephew, and how both of them act differently, or that. So to talk about, for example, if you are bisexual and you end up, or not even bisexual, if you're just a tomboy and you are a woman,
right?
There's nothing wrong with that. You logically made that choice because that's how you felt.
You feel comfortable.
That's how you felt comfortable.
Right.
But as a woman in this world, it's bigger than that. A lot of tomboys who grow up as tomboys are realizing the tension that comes with clothes. And they're disassociating with being a female because of the women that they see around them. And them not wanting to be like them, in a way. Maybe there are some ways that you give and take from the women around you. But there's a lot of ways that you don't want to be like them.
Right.
So you distance yourself from your sexuality.
Never seen it like that.
Which is definitely a lot of what has happened and throughout time.
Yeah.
You know? But to go back to me talking about the slave mentality thing, I'm talking about it from whether that's how you feel or not. Looking at it from a general state, not from your experience, but from a general state, having parents that are telling you when to telling you how to move, like what's up, what's down, and you having to deal with it and believe it and go off of it because you have no other choice. And the amount of times that I hear people, especially of your generation right now, because y'all's parents and y'all's parents' were in a completely different society than we live in today.
Yeah.
Right?
They only knew what they knew.
And I think one thing that we say a lot is, once becoming adults, is they didn't know any better. Our parents didn't know any better, and they did the best that they could. Because that's a form of settling too, though.
Right.
But it's a form of coping too, for the things that they did that they can never make up for because now it's in the past.
Okay.
So it's about that and coming to terms with full circle of everything that I said. Everything has to do with parenting. Everything has to do with your foundation and how you were brought up. You could be completely opposite of it, but it still comes from what you've been through that you decided to be opposite from it. So that also goes towards if you end up being just like them too. It also goes to that because it's nothing wrong with being just like your parents. It honestly isn't. But at the end of the day, it's about finding yourself, creating your own moral compass, creating who you want to be, the ideal of who you want to be, and becoming that person.
Okay.
And one of the things that I want to say also, just to lead out, is Oprah said, she said, there's going to be people in your life that are only pint-filled of love. They only have pint-filled amount of love that they can give you. And if you're a gallon lover, you're going to want that gallon-filled love in return. But if that person's a pint lover, they could be giving you all that they have. And it still won't be enough for you because you're a gallon-filled lover. So that's where the coping comes from.
Well, I think that's a great way. And I think Tati came on. Thank you for coming on. I think you left us with a lot of gems.
Thank you.
For you just to be a senior in high school, I think a lot of grown people can take some notes from things you said today. And at least we could end off. I think it's a perfect way to end off. Like if somebody can only give you a pint full of love, and you hoping and wishing and praying for a gallon, you know what I mean? Maybe you gotta get another milkman. I don't know.
Big facts. Big facts.
Nah, clap it up for Tasha. That was a great episode. Mental health is very critical to us, just in this period. Not let alone COVID and quarantine and everything going on. So I thank you for coming on, and we're gonna, with so much content and everything she brought to the show, we're definitely gonna bring her on next season for future episodes. And so thank you. And last call, man. Leave your comments below on how you feel about, like, what you think. What's your topic on? What's your thought about mental health?
And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below.
Yeah.
And I have no problem answering them, or if you want clarification on something that I said.
So do you want people to be able to reach out to you?
Yeah, I was about to say, you want everybody to contact you at?
Of course.
Shout it out.
Okay, well, my Instagram is at TAYALARAY, Taylor.
Okay.
Okay.
And none of that funny shit. None of that little weird shit. Like, if you got a question, just ask a question. Don't be weird, goddamn. 'Cause we ain't trying to.
Nigga, I'll beat your motherfucking ass, man. You know what I'm saying?
And with that said, man, shout out to the COTR gang. Everybody out there for subscribing. We wrapping up for the season. Look forward to more things coming and how the finale. But yeah, you got anything to close up?
Well, I will also say that, Tati, again, thank you for being on the show. Shout out to everybody that's been following us, the COTR gang. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Brado, motherfucking Jason, all that that's been watching this. Thanks for what is it? K-Mac and everybody that's been putting in the comments and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thanks to all the subscribers, everybody that's just been following us, man. Honestly, and again, to my man, hey, 11 episode, bro. 11 episode, man.
Humble beginnings, man.
11 episode. Episode 12 is on its way.
Yeah.
Please be on its way. Look out for that. Look out for that joint, man. So we're gonna do that. And again, leave comments. Everybody just be there for us, and thank you for the support, man.
And as always, we're gonna put all the contact information right here. And y'all follow, hit up Toxic for any mental health, any questions that you may have. But just know that you're gonna see her on future episodes of Conversations on the Rocks. And again, you know what? Appreciate you for being on the show again.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And all the great feedback, the gems that she dropped. And as always, man, when y'all watching, y'all out there, y'all living your life, being great, man. Always continue to have your conversations on the rock.
Yeah, I know.
And cheers to you too. Yeah.
Hey.
Salute.
Salute.